Hey, everybody. It is Black and White with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest. Right now, it is just me. I'm not sure if Lana's going to join me or not. I spoke to her earlier. I said, listen, you want to hop on? You hop on. We'll, discuss as much as we can or as much as you want to discuss. She's obviously very nervous about tonight, as all of us are. But early indications right now show a lot of positivity for Kamala Harris. But, as we know, it's going to be a long night. We are going to see what happens. But I do have MSNBC in front of me here. I am keeping an eye on everything that is going on. They just did a worthless, too early to call break in on Pennsylvania. Now, of course, we knew that. Donald Trump has been projected the winner of Florida, which already ruins my big prediction of an upset in Florida that I said the other day. I thought he really did have a chance here. I live in the state of Florida, and just looking around and talking to people, I thought that there might have been a possibility, and the big possibility really became more of talking to ex-Trump voters, people who had voted for Trump in the past, who said that they would never vote for him again. And I thought there was a possibility that maybe we could rip off some of those votes, but obviously that's not the case. But Florida is not one of those states that we were really counting on. We live in a country now where it really only appears as if there's about 7 states that make a difference in this country, which should be the number one and top argument of getting rid of the Electoral College. I was listening to MSNBC a little bit, and it's funny. I don't remember Chris Matthews, I believe is his name. Is it Chris Matthews? Chris Hayes. Again, I don't really watch cable news. I know the people when I see them, but he actually had a pretty decent point. He did say that you have a lot of people from other states that moved to the state of Florida that were big DeSantis fans, or they were, Donald Trump fans, or whatever the case is. And so it's going to be easier now to win the state of Florida because you moved all these people here. But what does that do to the other states? Like if they move from Pennsylvania or Michigan, Wisconsin, all these other states that have gone blue in the past, they're now sending them all down to Florida, and they're losing those voters in those particular states. And that actually could be a difference maker. He has a pretty good point there. Right now, I am looking at a Georgia result. 33% are in, 54% for Donald Trump, 44.6% for Kamala Harris. If you've been following this, it is really the county where Atlanta is, which I believe is DeKalb. Is it DeKalb or Cobb County? One of those two, which I believe those counties are very close to each other. But those are the ones that people really keep their eye on, the Atlanta vote. And that's the one that could take a little while to come in. There's a too close to call for Bob Casey versus Dave McCormick in Pennsylvania. Again, I'm not really sure what the point is in showing the too close to call when the polls close that quickly. I just saw something that was extremely disappointing. Rick Scott just beat Debbie Marcuso Powell in the state of Florida, and it appears as if that was a pretty easy one to call because we are literally an hour into the polls closing, and he is already the winner. So got to figure out something here in the state of Florida. But again, I think because we had a lot of people that moved to this state, they came down here from other states that could wind up hurting them overall in this electoral college. And really, at the end of the day, it should make you mad that if you move from Michigan to Florida, that your vote counts in Florida in a state that's already going to win in the party that you're going to vote for, but you're taking votes away from another vote. So why not go to just a national winner take all, and most and sorry, I'm getting distracted because I'm looking back and forth, but the winner take all with the most votes, whoever has the most votes should be the winner. Right now, Steve Kornacki's doing his thing. He has, we're looking at a million votes, a little over a million votes for Donald Trump at 55.7, and about 824,000 votes for Kamala Harris, 43.8, which is typical. You're always going to see the early Georgia vote going towards the Republican. Then it starts to smooth out later on in the night, as the night goes on, when they start counting the votes in the big cities like Atlanta. So, that's what we're going to keep an eye on, and it may take a while for Georgia to come in. But if Kamala Harris starts winning some of these other states early, that could be the handwriting on the wall. My other prediction is that we would hear the winner by 11 o'clock tonight. That's how much I think that she's going to blow them out. Now, in all honesty, part of that came from the fact that I predicted that she would win Florida. And obviously that's not happening. Right now, they're showing Fulton County with Kamala Harris with an early 71 to 28% lead. So obviously that is right on mark with what she did in 2020, or what Joe Biden did in 2020. So, so we got a night ahead of us, and there are a lot of people who are under the impression that we're not going to hear the winner for days. And I completely disagree with that, because really there hasn't been many elections where we didn't hear the winner for days. There's only two I can think of. One was because of COVID, and two was because of a lawsuit here in the state of Florida with the quote unquote hanging chads. If anybody watching this was alive to remember that, or you voted in that election, you remember the hanging chad election. And that was that took a long time to figure out, because there was literally a little over 500 votes that separated George W. Bush and Al Gore. Right now, I'm looking at Steve Kornacki talking about Fayette County in Georgia, where Trump right now currently has 50% of the vote, where Kamala Harris just has a little less. And it just adding up the numbers, or looking at the numbers between last time in 2020 to this one, Trump has so far lost voters to Kamala Harris. Or he's lost voters that he didn't get in the 2020 election. And these are the trends that we're going to be looking at. So it is, does Donald Trump add voters? And that is why I think a lot of people are feeling confident about Kamala Harris now. And the obvious reason is that you have to. If you lost a general election for president in 2020 and you're not adding voters on top of that, how do you win an election? It is near impossible to do that. The only way that people right now think that Donald Trump has a chance, and don't get me wrong, he obviously still has a chance, but the main reason why people think that he has a really good chance without adding voters is because people are paying way too much to these polls nowadays. Everybody just listens to these polls and they get freaked out, or they get too excited over these polls and think that that is exactly what's going to call this election. That is 100% not what's going to call the election. There are margins of errors in these polls that even if they get it wrong by 2 points, the other person can win by 2 points, and they can say, well, we were close and we were within the margin of error, so in turn we were right. There is one poll that came out recently that I do question a little bit, and I don't question the poll, I question the pundits about it. And it is the one that came out in Iowa. Ann Seltzer apparently is the gold standard. I shouldn't say apparently, she is the gold standard of polling. And people always want to hear what her opinion is right before the election when she comes out with her final poll. And the final poll that she came out with was shocking. It was shocking to the people who have been following this forever. And I watched the reactions of the people who saw this poll come out. And their first reaction was, wow, Donald Trump is only up by 3 points in Iowa. That is big for Kamala Harris. They had to rub their eyes a little bit and figure out, wait a minute, no, Kamala Harris is up 3 points. And the thing that drives me insane, oh my gosh, everybody, guess who's getting ready to appear? Get on here, Lana Quest. All right, first of all, I know. All right.
Florida.
And you know what sucks? That was fast. That was fast.
Yeah.
And Rick Scott, too.
Yeah,
fast.
I saw that. Yeah.
So, Lana, this is what I was saying. So, you know, and anybody that's watching now, we appreciate, because I know there's a million other things, and I'm sure Lana wants to watch it. I've got MSNBC on right in front of me, so I'm updating everything as it's going along. Right now, they are showing Randolph County in Georgia. Harris is up 50.5 to 49%, where Biden won that county by 54%. Now, of course, we're only talking. Now it says 66% of the votes were in. It sounds like a very small county. But we're keeping an eye on that. But Lana, I was talking, I don't know if you heard, is Chris Hayes from MSNBC maybe had a pretty good point that should be considered, and I did not consider. And the point is that we had a lot of people move from different states to come to the state of Florida because it was a MAGA and anti-woke utopia. And all these people were like, and there is no state taxes here. So there is, you know, some benefits to living in the state of Florida, but you had a lot of people that came and so they're here in Florida. That's why the vote is so easily done for Republicans here in the state. However, what they did is they took so many Republicans from other states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and these big battleground states, to where, as he put it, the trade-off might not be that good for Donald Trump.
Right. Right. Because they were all in Florida.
Correct.
Yeah.
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 Yep. So, all right. So Georgia right now we have, he's going to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia County, 87% to 11% for Donald Trump. We have 17% of the votes in right now. So, you know, obviously, Lana and I talked about this earlier. We talked about when they're going to call this race. I said it's going to be before 11 o'clock, but again, part of that was because I thought that they were going to win Florida. I still think we are going to get it earlier than people suspect. But the thing is, Lana and I talked about this. The last election was kind of a one-off. I mean, because we had COVID, and that's why it took so long. So everybody's remembering the last election and thinking it's going to be the same thing. Right. It may be a little bit more like 16, you know, when it was called at 2:30 in the morning. I think it's going to be earlier than that. But Lana, what are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be closer to like that 2 a.m. because even in Pennsylvania, is it Pennsylvania? One of those districts is not closing until 10 because they had a malfunctioning ballot machine.
Yes.
So they had to stop to fix that. So they're giving them until 10 o'clock. I mean, unless we get an idea of Pennsylvania and don't need that, then they can call it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? Like I said, this isn't.
He's not elected. Mark Robinson, he lost.
It's already done. I didn't see that. He already lost.
Stein is the projected winner. Yeah.
So tonight obviously isn't a typical show. There's no clips. There's no. Oh, Baby Juggernaut. Hey, Baby Juggernaut. I'm sorry, I just saw you. North Carolina only has 4% counted. Yeah. That I think is going to be a very important state to look on. You get Pennsylvania, you get North Carolina, and it's, you know, I think, you know, we may be able to wrap this up earlier than normal. So, so I just had somebody text me, and I'm not seeing, somebody said, and I think it only may be because you have the early Georgia vote. And typically, I said this earlier before you came on, typically the early Georgia vote is going to freak out the Democrats because you're getting the very small counties, and those very small counties are going to add up to big numbers for Republicans. Yeah. But then when you start adding in Atlanta and is it DeKalb County or Cobb County? I think one of those two.
Exactly. Fulton, is that
Fulton County or Fulton County? I think it's Fulton County. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're not there yet.
Counties.
Exactly. They haven't gotten to the blue counties yet.
Here's a good one, Lana. 72% in Oakland County in Michigan for Kamala Harris. Biden won that by 56%.
That's wild. That's
now,
wild.
again, we're only talking about 16% of the vote in right now. So
but that's still a big number.
Yep. Oh, shit. You know what? We're in big trouble because Donald Trump just won Oklahoma.
Don't do that. And because I'm like, what is he watching?
And there you go.
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, you know what? I apologize because I gamble sometimes, and well, I say I gamble on sports, but I'm a very controlled gambler, unlike a lot of these other people. But I'm a controlled gambler, and people will say something to mess with my bet. And we know in the gambling community, you don't do that. You don't fuck around with people. So I apologize. This is something we definitely don't fuck around with.
Yeah,
because
I'm like, wait, when you said that, I'm looking at when you said it, they flashed North Carolina, but they were talking about Stein and Robinson.
Yep.
Like when you said big trouble, all I saw was North Carolina. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking
Lana,
about?
you have my word that will not come out of my mouth again unless we truly are in big trouble. So if you hear me say it,
me and Baby Juggernaut, we were both like, what the hell?
Yeah. I'm sorry. But I do have my Lucky Harris Wall shirt on, as you can see. But Rhode Island's coming. Donald Trump has just been projected the winner of South Carolina, which again is not a shocker to anybody. This is the other thing too. I think you're going to see a lot of the red states come in earlier. So, you're going to see Donald Trump with this lead, and even we know that's going to change. It still sickens you to even see Donald Trump win anything.
Indiana, we're like, why couldn't we win Indiana?
And they were even trying to give you hope a little bit when, with Indiana. And I was like, come on. I was talking to Lana earlier. I said, look, if it comes in and they say Indiana goes to Kamala Harris, then Kamala Harris might as well just get up on the stage and start accepting.
Exactly. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Well, she got Massachusetts.
Got Massachusetts, and that again is not a surprise to anybody. Right now, she's leading 65% to 32%. Statewide in Michigan, but there's only 3% of the vote in, so obviously that means nothing. Virginia, she's up 51 to 46 with 31% of the vote in. I don't know what Biden won Virginia by. It might have been 9 to 10%, I believe. Vermont, Kamala Harris just won Vermont, which again, not a shocker. Wake County in North Carolina, she's up 71 to 27%. Usually they show what Biden's was in 20, which gives you a decent indicator, but when the results are so low at this point, it is difficult to say. Boy, I'll tell you what, Lana, going back to, what a misstep for the governor's race in North Carolina for Mark Robinson. And my question to you, if there was such a huge discrepancy between Josh Stein, because if I saw it correctly, I saw it like 70 to 30%. If that's the case, that could be excellent news, because who are the Stein Trump voters?
Right. Exactly. Because Mark Robinson and Trump are one of the same. I just
Baby Juggernaut could probably,
Yeah, I was like, one black Nazi down, one orange Nazi to go. Right. Who are those people who would, vote for Trump and then Stein?
Mark Robinson is the black Donald Trump.
He is, and that's Donald Trump's boy. He never not endorsed him.
He did. I guess when he went to North Carolina, never mentioned his name. But
the second
he didn't denounce him.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So we have Union County in North Carolina. Trump won. Right now, okay, so it's 0% of the votes, and so that doesn't mean anything right now. Connecticut, that's obviously we're not worried about Connecticut.
Correct.
So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming in. The one thing that's annoying, Lana, kind of like when I said earlier we're in big trouble, and I was joking, which I won't do again. What is a little bit annoying, are these channels that say breaking news. Here's Georgia. It's too close to call. Like, come on.
They just did that on MSNBC.
Yeah.
Matter was like breaking news. Dun, dun, dun. And then she went to, I don't know if it was North Carolina or Georgia, and then said, oh, it's moved from the category of what was the category at first? I can't even remember. Moved from they didn't have enough information to too close to call or whatever it was. Like,
come on, that is completely unnecessary.
To too close. That's what it was. Too soon to call. Like, why are you doing that?
That is completely unnecessary. But Lana, let's go and talk. I want to ask you, what are your? I mean, because I know there's just a natural feeling to be nervous about this. But as the day has gone on, has your vibe changed? Has it stayed the same? What is your vibe?
Vibe. I don't know.
I know you don't. I know Lana doesn't want to say directly that she's going to win.
Yeah, I don't. It's like all of the sense and just the math. When you just look at the math of it all, not even the polls, just the math that we know Donald Trump has lost supporters and she has gained a big tent. Just that math means she cannot lose, right? But then there's another part of you that's like, nothing's 100%.
Nothing is ever 100%. I mean, we literally, like I said before, we literally sat in 2016, basically with our feet kicked up in the air going, this is pretty simple. We're going to win this easily. Right. And then as the night went on, I mean, when I really got freaked out, I literally got freaked out when I thought Florida was a done deal for Hillary. And the night was going on. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why have they not called Florida yet? And when they called Florida for Trump, that's exactly the exact second I got sick.
Yeah.
I knew that was trouble. I knew it was trouble.
Which one?
When the Hillary, when against Hillary, when Trump won Florida. That's when I found out Trump won Florida. I got sick.
I would never think Hillary would win Florida.
Oh, no. At that time,
really?
It was almost a done deal. Hillary was good because Obama had won Florida twice.
Oh, so when she lost Michigan, that was it for me.
That was killer.
I'm like, Michigan?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, baby juggernaut. They already called it for Stein, which but I think maybe she's alluding to because I was asking what the percentages were so far, and it's 58% to 38%. I think I said it was like 70-30, something like that. But Donald Trump, Mississippi. Okay, Mississippi's not a state we're necessarily worried about, obviously, but we were talking about this earlier too, Lana. Is it makes no sense anymore to do this electoral college. So if you move from one state to another that's basically a full red or full blue state, then you're basically saying you can move anywhere in the country, but if you move to a state that's inconsequential to this election as far as who's going to win it and who's not, then it's kind of like, why my vote really kind of doesn't count.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess it does in part of, like in Massachusetts, if we just said my vote don't count and no one votes, then our state turns red.
No, but what I'm saying is that if you, right, yeah, but that's really the case against the electoral college. In fact, usually the Republicans that we talked about this on the show before. They talk about DEI. DEI really that is the electoral college.
Yeah. Yeah. Back.
It's basically like you don't have enough to, and I shouldn't even, because comparing it to DEI, because that makes it sound like anybody that gets hired on DEI doesn't have enough. But what I'm saying is that if you are, when I say not enough, you're basically saying you are underrepresented. So since you're underrepresented, that's why DEI exists. Same thing with the electoral college. If you are represented, that's the same reason why the electoral college exists. But in elections, I personally, it's not fair that when the majority of people
Yeah.
vote for something in particular and don't get their way because of that's where, if you want to criticize
Yeah.
DEI, because that's basically what that is, that's one place it should get criticized.
I totally agree. You listening, Dr. Phil?
That clown.
Ah,
Did you hear him today?
yeah, he's taking his endorsement back or walking it back or whatever that means.
No.
Wait,
Wait, was he walking back the Trump endorsement?
I thought so.
No, what he
What was he
said was,
doing?
well, maybe he said, I never endorsed Trump. The
Ew.
reason why I went to that MSG thing, that, and by the way, this is coming from a guy who says he's a doctor and he's supposed to be some kind of therapist. He
Mhm.
says, I did that as a show. I can't remember the words he used. It was almost like a show of defiance or something like that towards Kamala Harris, because I called her 25 times and she never called me back. And I'm like, dude, who the fuck are you?
Who are you? You're just a citizen of Texas.
And quite frankly, Dr. Phil had been a right-leaning sort of guy in every interview he's done prior to that MSG thing.
Absolutely. When COVID was going on, it was him and the other fake doctor, Dr. Oz, that were running around dissuading people from getting the vaccine. I'm like, what the fuck? Dr.
Yeah.
Phil and Dr. Oz, like both of them were telling people not to get the vaccine and saying all
Right.
kinds of crazy stuff. So it's like, dude, you've been in Trump's pocket. But now because like people are probably dragging your ass because of, you know, Oprah gave you your shot and you're like, fuck, I've offended Oprah's followers, which probably stopped watching your show a long time ago.
Yeah. Does he still have a show, by the way?
Is it in
Is he
syndicated?
still
I
on?
don't know. He is on. I just don't know if it's repeats or I don't know if it's new shows. I have no idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's inconsequential anyway. Georgia right now, early, Donald Trump was a 55 to 44% lead right now. But again, as we know, if you have been watching any of these, it doesn't really matter. Sheldon Whitehouse just won his race, which really is not a surprise in the state of Rhode Island. Yep. So that's always good. We like seeing the blue. Elizabeth Warren, yes, of course. There's absolutely no chance of her losing her race.
Yay, we love
But if you could rank the top 3 people outside of Donald Trump that you would love to see lose their races, who would they be?
Ted Cruz.
I think that might be everybody's number one. Marsha Blackburn just won. She's a nut. Ted Cruz.
It would have been Perry. Is that his name? Rick Perry?
Yeah, no, Rick Scott.
Rick Scott. Sorry, Rick Scott. Yeah,
I
hate that guy too.
Yeah.
Fuck, I hated Mark Robinson too.
You know what the thing was is that you knew he was going to lose.
Right.
So I'm talking about the ones that probably have a decent chance of winning. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Is she? Oh yeah, she is up. Yeah, I would love for her to move, but she'll never lose. Like her district is her district. They love her. Like
Mike
they
Long
love
just
her.
won the governor's race of Indiana, which again, that does not come as a surprise. Donald Trump won Indiana early, so you would suspect that would be the case as well. But yeah, I'm thinking Ted Cruz. I'm thinking Marjorie Taylor Greene, and all the other ones. I'm trying to think. I mean, oh shit, what's his name? I'm trying to think. The only other one I can think of is the one against John Tester, because I really want John Tester to win. But
Jim Jordan sucks too. Is he?
Who?
Jim Jordan.
Ugh. Jim Jordan, but he's not running. He's not up against anybody this year. So
he wouldn't lose either. I think he's in one of those districts too, right, where they just keep voting this guy.
Yeah, you know what it is. It's as a Floridian, Rick Scott, Ted Cruz, Marjorie Taylor Greene would be my top 3.
Yeah, definitely Marjorie.
Right now, the Amendment 4 in Florida, the rights to abortion, has 57%.
Oh, come on.
Got to get 60%.
They got to get 60 and 82% in. Fuck.
And I will tell you that's
people.
concerning with 60% of the vote in. That really, really, really concerns me that we're not at over 60% on that amendment.
Right.
Right now, Donald Trump 66% to 32% in Alabama, which again is absolutely no shock at all. But they're 1% in. Do you have MSNBC on as well? Baby Juggernaut says Phil's been a supporter through softball questions. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Texas, he was obviously a Trumper. 11%. North Carolina, Harris 51%. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, Steph! Oh my God! Look who is here. Steph, Lana. I don't know if you remember Steph, but do you recall the podcast that I had? And I had you. I had Steph, and I had
it was the phone. It was on the phone.
It was no, we didn't do. It wasn't face to face, but we did. It was my podcast.
Recording on the phone or something.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
But that is Steph, and Steph is in the house. How are you, Steph? Good to see you. Steph's a good New Yorker. Are you still in New York, Steph? The legalized marijuana, we're only at 55% in Florida. Again,
60.
Yeah, that concerns me. Now, again, the other, well, you know why that concerns me? Because there's a portion of Florida, the Panhandle, that is actually an hour behind in the time zone. Mm-hmm. And the Panhandle is all Trump. The Panhandle might as well be an extension of Alabama.
Wow.
And there's only one blue county really in that Panhandle, and that is Leon County, where the University of Florida State University is. So that concerns me that we're below 60%. Arkansas just went to Donald Trump again, not a surprise to anybody. And I don't know what the percentages were in Arkansas. It'd be interesting to see if they were closer than normal. Illinois, Harris has a commanding lead early with 2% of the vote in. Voted at 6 a.m. this morning. She is still in New York. Are you in the city, Steph? Are you in Manhattan? If I remember correctly, I thought that's where you were. So anyway, Donald Trump right now, he is at 105 electoral votes. And Kamala Harris is at 27, which again, we don't like to see that, but that is typical. We will always see that pretty much every election. As long as we have this electoral college nonsense, you're always going to see the Republican, at least in this time, the Republican nominee is going to be an early lead. So, she's in Manhattan, Spanish Harlem, to be more precise. I was in Manhattan not too long ago. Damn it, I should have let Steph know that I was up there. I'd love to meet her. And I will be back there. I'll be back there when baseball season starts for the Mets. So Connecticut right now, we have 1% of the vote in. That means really not a whole bunch going on.
No.
So how late are you going to stay up? Anybody else in the comments? Anybody else watching? How
I'm
late?
going to bed. I can't, because I can't do this.
You're going to bed?
It might take too long for them blue to come in. Michigan is closing at 9, maybe in 30 minutes, I think.
So you would go to bed before you knew the winner?
Hell yeah.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can, and I will let you know, Steph, for sure.
I have to work, man.
We have a projection here coming up, Lana, Delaware, for Kamala Harris. I'm bothered by this fucking Florida amendments.
Yeah, can't even have weed. What the hell? Who is voting in Florida? Like, what the?
I don't know. That's freaking
it's like,
me out.
Are people not voting? Like, I think that's probably more the issue. How many people have sat these elections out, who are sitting it out, who just aren't voting?
I don't know if it's sitting out, Lana, or I think we just have that big of a MAGA contingent here is what it is. But you know, I saw ads, Lana, in my town here from a sheriff that is outside of my county which that is all red. But it was him endorsing and saying yes because legalized weed would take out a lot of the weed that came in on the streets that are, not good. So you had actually a MAGA sort of sheriff endorsing it. So that's why I'm surprised right now. I'm a little freaked out by what's going on.
Wow.
No, I'm in the middle of answering some text. So of course we're going to get bombed with text. We're going to get bombed with everything else. Delaware, Matt Meyer for governor. He won again. I'm not sure that's a surprise to anybody coming in. Weed is legal 15 minutes from me in Virginia. So screw it. It's that's right in North Carolina. Yeah, that's right. That is crazy. You could drive 15 minutes or 15 miles and you're good to go. Right now we're just looking at some very, very early Illinois, which not a state that we are generally worried about. We just saw the projected winner, Indiana. We know that one already. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting night. We're going to, I think when we're going to see real results, whether it is going to be time to start celebrating or it's going to time to start getting nervous, it's going to be around 11 o'clock tonight. That's about maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock is when we're really going to start seeing those things. But I don't know. Just from everything that I've heard, everything that I've seen, Maine right now, 1% in, 50 to 46. So there's really not everything that I'm hearing, everything that has been reported. I mean, what they always say, Lana, is to win elections, for the Democrats to win elections is you need turnout. And from what I'm hearing record turnout on voting day. And this is even after we have the mail-in. We already have the early voting counts in, and we're still getting record turnout, which is giving the Harris-Walz camp a lot of confidence.
Right. I mean, Georgia, come on. Come through, Georgia.
Georgia, North Carolina. We get Georgia, North Carolina. We might be able to go to sleep nice and easy and nice and early. Yeah. But Georgia may take a while.
Yeah. Because they got to get Fulton County there.
I'm mentally putting my clock at 2 to 2:30 a.m. is when I will consider.
Don't listen to him. He said Florida was gonna win.
No, hold on, Lana. I said that was my. Remember, I said if we were going to pick something as a surprise, right? Yeah. I know you still. I know you're not going to let me get away with it, which I don't blame you. Right now, an early lead in Pennsylvania for the state. Kamala Harris has an 87 to 11% margin, which actually they're showing right now with Biden won 81, 79. I'm sorry. This is in Philadelphia County. I was going to say that does not make any sense throughout the state of. Yeah. So that is Philadelphia County, where she's already showing a higher percentage of Biden. But let's keep in mind there's only 18% of the vote in.
Right. Woo! How you guys doing?
My state of New Jersey. My people. Right now we're at 55 to 43%. I know there were some whack jobs online, and there was a whack job who's running for president who suggested that New Jersey was going to him. There's a fucking 0% chance.
Yeah, right.
17% in of North Carolina, Lana. We got 51% to 47% Trump over Harris. Not really sure what the counties are showing there yet.
Right.
Baby Juggernaut. Any suggestions there?
Yeah, what's going on in North Carolina? Oh my goodness. This is hard.
I know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a long night. I am so wait. Somebody just texted me marijuana and abortion lost.
Man, that's crazy.
I don't
no abortion and no weed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hold on. Where did you see that?
Fox News.
I see it's down.
Maybe it's projected to not make it. Is it not enough votes to go? You
I
said
mean,
it
I,
would
I
be
don't
like
I don't understand because this isn't a county thing. This is you just count the amount of votes that come in. It doesn't
right,
matter what county
right
you're
until
in.
the
So
end, right? Okay.
yeah, so I don't understand how they could call that unless I don't know. I unless they know the amount of voters already,
Left,
but
right,
they can't. How can they know the amount of voters if the precincts haven't South
right.
Carolina, obviously, to Donald Trump. He said MSNBC. I'm watching
I
MSNBC, and
know.
well,
Gosh, I feel that's awful for women in Florida.
well,
Hopefully, Kamala, we're gonna pull this off. We got it.
that's the key is her
Yeah.
winning.
Right.
Yep, and then winning. Let's see, Bucks County, Kamala Harris early lead 65% to 33%. I do like when they show what happened in the 2020 election, so
Yeah.
you can compare it. Donald Trump with a big lead in Tennessee early on, obviously.
Tennessee.
So
It's
yeah.
Tennessee. That's what we expect.
Yeah, I mean, what we're looking for, what we obviously want to see, Virginia, very, very close right now at 42% in. It is 49% to 48% Harris over Trump. So, we'll definitely keep an eye on that and see what's going on there. But she just won Vermont, obviously. We knew that one. So,
Yeah, that was like one of the first ones that popped in.
yeah.
Bernie Sanders. That's his. Oh, yeah. See, this is why I was like, I'm not doing no show because
I
this.
know, and again, I don't blame you. And it's just said it gets contentious, and you wonder, hey, this Lackawanna County they're showing Biden won by 53%. She is up right now 66%. So we'll see how that plays out. You're always you just want to look at the trends, and the trends
Right.
are really is what's going to dictate. No, and actually, what's going to dictate this election is the actual votes.
It's
But
only
the trends tell
27,
you something early.
but it's only
And
27% in though, too. So
say that again.
only 27% of the vote in.
Correct. Yeah. We got a while to go. And that's why I said when it starts to sink in, it's going to be around 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Stay tuned, guys.
Stay tuned, everybody. We are obviously
I'm
going to
gonna go
see
to
what
bed.
happens. We're going to keep an eye on it. Lana, I think maybe at this point we'll sign off for now.
Yeah.
I might hop back on in and out depending on what's happening, what's going on. But Lana and I will be in touch. We'll figure out. But we'll keep an eye on everything. Listen, here's the bottom line. The bottom line is Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Those are the three. Anything else on top of that is cherry on top. So, we are competitive in Georgia. We're obviously competitive in North Carolina. We are competitive in Arizona. We're competitive in Nevada. All these states we are competitive in, and it's going just to take for her to win these states. And it's over. And we did that's all we have to worry about. So so for right now, let's say good night. And we will, like I said, I might hop back on. We'll see what happens throughout the night, but we'll keep an eye on it and keep in touch. And Lana, send me a text when you're gonna go to bed. Because I will definitely be up.
I'll probably shut my eyes now and then
Yep.
I'll wake up in 2 hours or something. Remember, I gotta get up at like 4:45. So
That's true too. I get it. All right.
I-
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for watching. I know there's a million other things to watch. Baby Juggernaut, thank you for joining. Steph, great to see you. I appreciate you joining.
guys.
And keep an eye out. I might hop back on later. We'll see. But thank you, everybody, for watching. And we will see you again soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.